Welcome to Voice of Thermopolis podcast. I'm Aaron, and today we have a special guest. Taylor, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Oh, pretty good. What do we got here? Brian?
Yeah, my name is Brian Parker. I'm the Recreation Director for Hot Springs County Rec District, and I'm just here to spread the word on some of the stuff we have going on and chat with you guys.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. You've been doing a lot of good things here in the town. You've been an integral part, even though people don't notice it, I feel, with like a lot of our youth and a lot of what's going on stuff. I have kids that go through a lot of the rec programs and everything like that. So like I'm pretty familiar with you and with what you have going on with the rec department. But I don't think everybody else is. So I wanted to have you on the podcast. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And yeah, that's the main goal, is to help spread the message and all the stuff that we've got going on and that we can do. And then just obviously invite the community in to be a part of the rec district. And we want to hear your needs and your wants and cater to that.
For sure.
It's about the community.
Yep,
every podcast,
Absolutely.
every episode, it's about the community.
Speaking of community, real quick, just want to give a shout out to Audra's for letting us, come here to the
Copper Coup
and letting us do the podcast here and making some really good tea. So thank you, Audra. I appreciate that so much.
A big shout out to her. I wish I should have thought about it, right? I had some sort of like a little flyer, but it's here on Clark Street.
Yeah.
200 something Clark Street?
Something like that.
Can't miss
if
it.
you're watching on YouTube, this is her backdrop. It's a very gorgeous little shop here. So patio, come check her out.
Yeah, on a tangent, and totally unrelated to your topic, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
My first time coming here was Saturday, and I had to confess with her because she's part of doing a lot of good things for the Frontier Days, and we'll talk about that coming up. But I was like, hey, I've never been to your place, and I'm sorry. It's the coolest, best kept secret here in Thermopolis. I think it is. This place is so fantastic. The motif, it's so comfortable. You can just bring someone here and relax and maybe even play a board game, or maybe you're just having a late night tea with somebody, or they have mocktails, which are going to be super fun, and we're gonna have to try those out. And so I just fell in love instantly. There's all kinds of cool places to sit. Each place has its own little feel to it, and man, and then the drinks. You had me walking in the door, and then I had one sip. I just told her, make me something good, and I wasn't worried about dairy. That's kind of how I like to do it, because let the masters cook. You go to like Gordon Ramsay's establishment, or you don't tell him what you want. You're like, hey, show me what you can do.
What's funny is I did not ask for cream because I kind of forgot. I just told him, I said, Aaron just wants something hot and something good.
Something hot and something good. This is divine. It's the best tea I've ever drank, and I've drank quite a bit of different teas.
Right.
I don't know, whatever she did here, magic. So shout out Copper Coup again. We might be seeing this location more depending on how everything works out here. She's been super cool with facilitating this and having us over, and so big shout out and thank you for that. Now let's get back to what we're really here for. We did our shout outs, at least, for these drinks. I got you on, Brian. We had breakfast before this, so we're feeling pretty comfortable. Some of the jitters and stuff like that. But I really wanted to bring you on because being such an integral part in our community, like I said, it's kind of one of those kept secret things. A lot of the community has different knowledges of different things, and this is one of them. You have how much going on between how many different sports, and then you have the outdoors club, right? Or what is that called?
The Hot City Outing Club. Yeah, so we do a slew of different outdoor recreation activities and just invite people from the community, try to connect them together, and expose people to new things, learn from our friends and our fellow citizens here, and just all get involved and create a group that is interested in these different outdoor recreation activities.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I've been personally really excited about. A bit of a passion project on my end, being really into outdoor rec, and obviously wanting to learn other outdoor rec activities than the ones that I'm already exposed to. So that's just something I started up as an extra program, something to add in to the community, and it's been well received. We're still trying to grow it, so we're encouraging all that are out there that are listening to this. If you have an outdoor recreation activity that you're either an expert at, or you want to teach come, to the rec center, reach out. We're looking for leaders. We want people to, guide and lead these different outings. And it shouldn't all just fall on me as far as the, experts go. I only have my certain areas, and I just want to invite the whole community in to be a part of it. So, we're trying to grow that, but we've seen, decent involvement, but trying to make it bigger.
So is it just for outdoors activities? Like, what if I wanted a board game club?
Well, for now, we've been focused on just the outdoor recreation piece, but I don't see why we couldn't put something together if it's connecting people and,
especially during the winter when you can't go hiking too much because it's 30 degrees and snowing,
Yeah.
So
something like that. We were very receptive to it. So if you're out there listening and it's not outdoor recreation, still bring it to our table. Even just as the rec district, we would love to help support any programs that people are interested in.
Cool.
If you want to be a leader, that's even more important because we need people to step up and lead these programs. And the more we have, more involvement we have, the more we can do, the more we can support.
Yeah, it takes a lot off your plate, right? Because right now you have a lot of irons in the fire.
Yep. So there's a lot of our core activities, our youth sports, adult leagues, different events, and then all the side work, just running the rec district that keeps me more than busy. So the more people we can get involved from the community, the bigger we can get, the more we can offer.
Yeah, and then we can see this grow and one thing I hear a lot about the community, we bring it up a lot in this podcast, is that there's nothing to do in Thermopolis. The general sentiment is there's nothing to do. But then you're over here with a full calendar of stuff, of things to do. And maybe not all of it fits your fancy, but there's got to be something on there, right? Like, this is the great outdoors. This is Wyoming. We have so much outdoors. We have so much sky to see. There's so much going on that around us. Our back doors is just amazing. Yeah. And then people just say there's nothing to do, but then they go sit on their couch or their iPad or something, right? And then it's easy to say, but what do you want? If you, I pitched this with a coworker the other day, and I was like, they had said something to the fact of there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do. And so I asked them, I was like, well, if you got off work, what would you want to do? If time, money, resources wasn't a problem for your evening after you got done with the long day of work, what do you want to do? What would you wish there was more to do of? And completely stumped, right? Completely stumped. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, well, I mean, it kind of depends on what's going on, but I could think of a few things that would be nice to do. Catch a ball game. My son's actually float the river. Yeah, we talk about Rent Adventure. Keep shouting out to them because they have stuff to do. You just kind of have to be interested and do the 2 steps to do it, and you make that easy. Right, you make that easy. You have signups. We can go to the webpage, or is it just on Facebook right now? How do we do this?
So we do a lot through our Facebook page. That's where you're gonna see us most active, and we're posting a lot. We're sharing a lot. We like to help support the other local groups within the community and spread the word on what they've got going on, as long as it's somewhat recreationally, related. Heavy on Facebook. So, and I know that doesn't, not all folks are on Facebook, but we have our website, hscrecreation.com. So that's, we do signups through the website. You can stop by the rec center and just pick my brain for a little bit. I'm always, open door policy. Come on in, sit down, let me know your ideas. Let me know maybe a club you want to start, a sport you want to see done. Even if you don't want to lead it, at least, put the bug in my brain and
maybe you can find someone that will. Right?
Exactly.
Or see where the interest is at. Sure.
Yep. So a little bit old school, but if you want to give us a call, come on down. Anytime, open door policy, like I said. And,
when are those doors open?
So 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. are our office hours. Occasionally, though, I'm out running some errands, doing
podcasts.
Yeah, doing podcasts, doing different things. So if I do miss you, then just try me at a different time. You give us a call. I have all my contact information listed right on the front of the building at the Armory, and then on the front of my office. It has my cell number on it. I'm very open to, give me a call, give me a text, whatever you're most comfortable with. I don't take any,
Yeah. So you haven't been in Thermopolis that long.
No, just probably about 3.5 years at this point.
3.5 years. And
Yeah.
you were originally from
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yep,
And you're just
back
like, man,
east.
Wyoming, I really want to go there, huh?
Yeah. So
Did you hear about Wyoming on the internet? Because we didn't exist for a while there.
We still don't.
We are not.
I took some research to, see Wyoming as a destination, but like I was saying over breakfast, I looked at Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho as some potential landing spots, and I had it in my head that I wanted to move out west and start a life out here. And I've had plenty of life back east, and I just really like the values, the people out here, the opportunities for outdoor recreation. Obviously, public lands is a huge thing that you guys have going for you out here that we just don't have as much of back east. And all those incorporated in just where I saw my life and where I wanted to move. And that put my focus on Wyoming and this area, and just applied for jobs and looked around, and the right opportunity was presented.
So what are your passions, and then how do those help you do what you're doing now?
So I've always been big into sports growing up, all sorts of recreational activities, always been very active. So I've always been just naturally drawn to in those areas. So
Cool.
I've always wanted to apply that to what I do for work. And before this, I was a personal trainer, did sport performance training, training with athletes.
Wow.
And, that was really rewarding. I love that job and that career. But I was looking for something, slightly different, more in the recreational field. So running a rec department, something like that, has always seemed appealing, and where I wanted to go. And my experience here has only solidified that thought.
Cool.
And proved that it was the right
So you
inclination.
worked with people a lot doing the personal training and things like that, especially one-on-one, of course, right? And so that helps you be able to kind of help things here to where you're able to listen to what people are saying more, and then be able to implement things that they want to see or help that vision out. Huh? You think that?
Yeah.
Because people come to you all the time if you're personal training, right? Hey, I want to look like this, dude. You're like, that's Brock Lesnar. Come on, dude. Like, you can't be John Cena, all right? Like,
Yep. Yeah, they usually have the image in their head of what they want. But as a personal trainer, we tried to be, functionality and, more of those kind of goals driven.
Like a realistic kind of.
instead of you
Exactly.
being John Cena, then maybe you be you.
Yeah,
Just
be healthy,
better,
be
right?
strong, be capable, feel good in your body, be confident. Those sort of things that I think that everyday person needs. And going back to that, I worked a lot with youth athletes. So that was like one of my specialties, is anytime there was a high level or even, any sort of level youth athlete, I would work with them on building their skill sets and their, obviously their physicality that is an age appropriate manner. So
Wow.
something I studied in school, and there's a lot of psychology and that goes into working with youth athletes. So I just
All
have
right.
applied that a lot to this job here.
That's
And
cool.
I love, working with kids. I think it's really rewarding, giving them a positive experience and giving them, these positive experiences that make them want to come back to these activities, these sports, and make them lifelong, hobbies.
That's cool. How's the community been helping, treating you with all that? And
Yeah, so the community's been extremely receptive, and I think everyone here has been very warm, welcoming, and encouraging to me. And
Good.
They definitely let me know when they want to see certain things, but they do it in a very polite, proper way,
Good
I would
deal.
say. And I just felt very welcome here straight from the beginning, and I just really want to pour my efforts back into the community and serve them, and hopefully be a valuable asset and be someone that they, like to have in their community and like to have on their side, and we can
Yeah.
all work together. But
yeah, and I think what you're doing is pretty awesome. And
You're doing a heck of a job.
yeah, for sure.
Like we always tend to see when the things are coming up for different sports, and we're always trying to get the registration, and then you have the pre-meetings and equipment for when football comes around. It was you make it so easy to just come in with the kiddo and you get all your stuff and you get out of there instead of like big lines and a big cluster going on. It's like you kind of have things. The flow is really well, and
Yeah.
and then You always make sure the fields are all good, and then so is it just you down there that's just like you gotta cut the grass and you gotta like chalk the lines and then you gotta go and mop the floors on the basketball court? You doing all this or?
No sir, no sir. I could not do it all by myself. A huge shout out to Jim Joyner. He's our maintenance guy. He does all of our groundskeeping. He's the reason that the baseball fields look as good as they do. All around the Armory looks as good as it does.
Wow.
All the improvements. So hats off to him. All the credit there goes to him. And, originally stepping into the position, it was more all on me to get that, field work done, all the groundskeeping, maintain. Jim was on, maintaining the Armory for us and cleaning, so I didn't have to worry about that. But when we brought him on as a groundskeeper, we noticed a huge improvement in just the quality. And then, I felt a lot of that load taken off of me. So I'm able to be more effective in my role, and, we get a better result as, with him in his position.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And then you have the budget gal.
Yes,
so the book gal.
Yeah, Tracy is our bookkeeper, and she gets us paid each month, writes the checks, does all the books, keeps us on track. She's phenomenal to work with. She's been extremely helpful to me, especially stepping into a role that's been new to me. Coming from a personal training background, I was learning a lot stepping into this role. So she's been, extremely valuable and patient with me, and we work well together, I believe. So
cool.
Yep, valuable resource.
So you got a little bit of a team.
Absolutely.
A couple Avengers in the book.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right on. So then they're all there to help you out, but then you gotta you're the guy with the making the budgets. You're the guy trying to plan the calendar, and then making sure that all the things are being facilitated properly, right?
Yep. I'm trying to make it all happen behind the scenes and direct it all, and then my board members they guide me and let me know what I need to, where my focuses should be, and this and that. But I have to give a round of applause to them. Hats off to them. They've been great to me, and they've really let me ease into the role, been forgiving and things like that, and have just made it very easy on me and encouraged growth. And they'll let me know when I need to step it up in certain areas, or they want to see more in this area or whatever. But they've been very, very great to work for. So I'm extremely thankful for them and this opportunity.
So what moving ahead on the calendar here, what kind of things do we got coming up that we can look forward to?
Yeah.
Isn't a co-ed softball coming up?
Yes,
and that's
sir.
usually pretty big for us.
Yep. So that'll be starting up here in June. So Adult Softball League will be starting on June 3rd. So we run those on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. If you're out there and you want to play adult softball, the way we do it is team registration. So get some friends together. It is co-ed, so we do require, males and females. Check out our rule sheet. You can find it on our Facebook page there.
Cool.
And get a team together. You can get registered. We start June 3rd. I believe we have a managers meeting the Tuesday before that. I'm blanking on the exact date on my head, but it's all out there.
Coming around June.
Yep. And stop by the Armory if you have further questions, and I'm happy to discuss it with you. But so Adult Softball League will be starting up June 3rd. We got youth baseball starting up here in May.
Oh, yeah.
They just did their field cleanup day yesterday. So,
okay.
Jason Sizz is our baseball sport manager. He runs Thermopolis baseball, and there's a board also that is in charge of that. So they take so much of the responsibility of that baseball program off of me, and I just help support and assist them. So if you didn't know, that's, it's Thermopolis baseball is separate from the rec, but we do support them. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, so we work together and obviously try to do everything that we can for them, but they are their own board and they're doing a phenomenal job, and just, can't give it up enough to them. So
that's cool. So you're always working with somebody on something.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Lots of relationships, and yep.
And
it's
a lot of
really
the
helpful
community behind those kind of things. So
yeah.
Do you tend to get a lot of local businesses and stuff like that willing to support and help out with that kind of thing, or do you only find individual volunteers more?
So I know the baseball club gets a lot of sponsorships from local businesses. They put up banners for those businesses to advertise at the ball fields. So if you're a local business and you want to be a part, help out with the baseball program, you can reach out to us and I can help you get through the correct channels to get set up for that. But yeah,
Right on.
lots of community help there. So
Maybe one day we'll see a voice of Thermopolis.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be cool.
Have you ever played softball?
Have I played softball? No. I've always been struggling with the bigger kids, so yeah, I'm being a lot of pressure is being put on me this year to do softball and stuff
should.
like that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do it. I can get in shape. I can do where I want to be.
And that's it. Yeah. You don't have to be any kind of star athlete or in any kind of sort of shape. This is
That's
all
true.
just for the community get together. It's so much fun, so much laughs. And,
Yeah, I've met a lot of friends or made a lot of friends through the softball, just rooting for people that I know. And then you get to know all the people on the team and, everyone's kind of the community, right? We're friendly. We're waving at each other. And
Yep.
one thing coming to Wyoming, when I first came to Wyoming a long time ago, back in my day, it was so interesting to see that coming into, just driving down the road, people wave at you and it's like, how are you? I'm like, why are they waving at me? What do I have something on my face? Is there something on the car? Is something going on that I should be worried about? And no, it's just the general friendly habits that people have around here. It's not, you can just see a stranger and how are you?
Yep.
And stuff, rather than where I come from. And I don't know if it's the same way in Connecticut. But where you keep your head down and you don't mess with it. You're not involved in anyone else's business, right? Because if you are, then now you're involved in their business and you don't want that. You don't, for anyone, because you don't know what they're up to. You don't know what kind of what things are doing, so you keep your head down. And that's kind of the sentiment I come from. So then 180 that, come into Wyoming and everyone's just like, how are you? I'm like, who are you? I'm like, oh well, I teach your kid in the 3rd grade. Oh, well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And so I know so many teachers and business owners and everything now, just be working here, 17 years serving the community and helping people out, that now I'm just like, oh, you're that person. I'm terrible with names sometimes. So Brian?
Yeah.
But at least I'll still wave because I recognize you and stuff like that, So that's the sentiment is things kind of changed up. So was there a lot of whiplash or a lot of change like that for you coming in only 3 years ago?
Yeah, I identify with how you explain it. It was a slight culture shock, but I would describe the best way possible. It was an amazing turnaround and change to see, and just like I said before, the community has been so welcoming to me, and not that I didn't expect it, but it's exceeded expectations. And those little things like waving to a stranger as you drive down the road were just non-existent in the world that I grew up in for 25 years before I moved here. And it's you really appreciate it when you are exposed to it. So another reason why I just love it here and the way of life and the people, and appreciate it.
So you reached out to the pod and you wanted to come on and you wanted to be able to help get more eyes, more ears on the rec department, rec district. How do I say that? Is it district?
So it's formerly the Hot Springs County Recreation District. So we're a special district through the state of Wyoming.
Okay.
So that would be, we're not technically a rec department, it's a rec district.
Okay. So I need to be careful.
They're used
Semantically.
interchangeably, and I know exactly what people mean when they refer. We're essentially the same thing as a rec department and function in the same ways. So it's called district because of that special district, title.
So if you had unlimited funds, and that means unlimited hours of time, whether it be just unlimited resources in general, what would be your vision for the rec district?
So the first one that comes to my mind is an easy one, and it's something that my board members are extremely passionate about. Something that we're moving towards is we want to see a new rec center built here, more of a community center for kids to come in, have a hangout zone, places to spend time. We'll have basketball courts to host tournaments and other recreational activities. We want to have pickleball spaces because we see that exploding. We want like wrestling and jiu-jitsu rooms because we see both of those programs, heavily used, and just have a newer, updated rec facility that can cater to the community's needs and how it's growing, and also pull opportunities here to Thermopolis in order to bolster the local economy and just bring money into town versus our kids always heading out of town, going to these bigger places for these tournaments. And that will still happen, but we want to be more involved in hosting a lot of these events, and having a new rec center that can cater to those needs is essential. So that's, it's been a long time project through the Rec District. If you're, a longtime citizen of Thermopolis, you've probably heard this before. We are given another swing at it, and, we're determined, and we're, making very, very small bites at it right now, but we're hoping that those small bites will grow and snowball and, eventually, who knows how many years down the road, but we're actively pursuing it, and we would love to see a new rec center built here. We're seeking funding through grants and all sorts of other avenues. This isn't something that we're wanting to dump on the taxpayers here in town. So this is not something that you're going to feel is put it right on your back.
Please,
So we're trying to do it for you and not on top of you. So,
right, not force you to do it, but it's more of like, here's a gift, here's a
So
I think that would be amazing to bring
cool.
in a new rec building like that. Honestly, I think it'd be really awesome.
We're talking like YMCA, and we're gonna have like a cool wave pool, and you're gonna have like a full functioning
probably not
gym.
a pool, probably not a workout facility. Those were two things that were left out of the
The vision,
the contents of what this is. But yeah, all sorts of different activities we want to be able to cater to outside of those. But yeah, we really just want to provide a new space that can help us grow as the rec district, as a community, and just give someone here something to do.
So we have a disc golf course. Yes. Is that something you guys manage? Is that on you guys, or is that some separate thing?
We don't manage that. I believe that's all managed by the state park.
Cool.
Run on their land. Okay. So yeah, that disc golf course is phenomenal. I see people on it, most nice days. My office window looks right out at it. So I get to see the people having fun throwing their...
Do you play some disc?
I have not played. I've been over there and checked out the course, and that is something that we're planning for our outing club.
Yeah.
So I've spoken with a community member that's very passionate about it. He's over there all the time, so I'm getting him into leading a group and doing that through the outing club.
So I do have a quick question. So in a sense, I understand, but also how come a pool was kind of left out of the vision? Because I think personally it'd be kind of cool to have a pool for kids or adults who can't afford, $15 for...
Yeah, so I think there's a couple major things of why the pool was left out of planning. One is as simple as, that tax on a lot of extra costs to the building of this, but that alone wouldn't necessarily deter us. I think it was also now being in maybe competition against some of the concessionaires in the state park and not wanting to, bridge over into their territory, however you want to word that. But I think that influence, and then also not wanting to accrue the extra cost, was a big moving factor in that direction. So,
Gotcha.
And then I think there's a lot of maintenance, and that just is more cost stuff. But yeah, those are the main reasons. And then kind of similar with the gym, I think it, obviously brings in a lot of liability, but then there's also, I know there's, places here in town like Gotchi and
the Pit.
The Pit.
Yep. Love them.
So, yeah.
Shout out Stevie for the Pit. I really appreciate that.
Maybe we need to get her too.
Yeah, it'd be cool. As the local business owner, it'd be cool. Yeah. Dude, have you been to the Pit?
I have not been in. I've seen lots of pictures. It looks state of the art and
so
amazing,
phenomenal.
though. Yeah. So
I've definitely seen some pictures. I obviously have never been inside the Pit.
Oh,
so.
you don't even have to say obviously. All right. I've spent a lot of time, a lot of hours. Like I took like a whole journey where I took a full year, and I reworked myself and it changed my life. I was there 2 a.m. I was there at 8 a.m. I was grind and got myself back together. So like that place means just so much to me, and it opened up right across the street from work. And I'm like, well, now I don't have an excuse. And it's 24 hours access, right? Once you get paid, and you
Which
have
I think is awesome that it's 24 hours.
Like, here I am, like, well, like, no gym's open when I get off work at 11 o'clock at night. She's like, bet. So that's been a big part of my life and stuff like that.
I think what Stevie did with that was really awesome.
So I think it's probably a smart idea to not compete with local businesses, but there's a lot of opportunity to bring in other things, right?
Yeah.
No one's got a basketball business, no one's got a pickleball business, or they call it paddle now. Is that the same sport, or are they two different sports?
I only know it as pickleball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Man, I know they're what they would call rackets in tennis are paddles in pickleball, but
I'm sorry.
Is that where you bang it against the wall?
You're allowed to use the walls.
That's what I'm saying. Is that the one where you
right? Is that, or is the pickle the one that's like baseball but with a weirder? That's cricket.
Pickleball is like a scaled down version of tennis, and you use a wooden paddle and like a wiffle balls.
Oh.
And the net's lower and the court's slightly smaller.
Oh, so then what am I thinking? Were you just
racquetball, possibly?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's what's called paddle. I'm not sure now. If Andrew Schultz ever watched the podcast, he's like, bro, he's a comedian. He does a podcast.
Sports fanatics watching the podcast right now are like, are you guys okay?
They're really hung up on this thing. I get hung up on some weird things sometimes, okay? And I need to like get the vision out. I need to see what's happening with this stuff. And yeah, like pickleball is apparently on the rise. Well, paddle. See, paddle is already on the rise, and I don't know if it's the same thing. It would take a Google search, but here I am without my phone. But it's apparently like a rising sport, so it'd be kind of cool to see like the initial wave and maybe catch in early with that kind of stuff. But we currently don't have facility for that. Yeah. What about Candy Jack? They have a tennis court up there. Is that something that can work with that? Do you work with that, or is that more?
So the local group that's big into pickleball, they do use Candy Jack Park, and they use the existing tennis court to play. We also, in the wintertime, provide them space and times in the armory. So we have pickleball nets there and equipment, and we can set up a couple courts, but that's really what we're maxed out at is 2 different courts. And when they have enough players, they will get a couple of courts of people going and maybe have people waiting to jump in and join a game. Mm-hmm. But either 1 or 2 games going there. They're pretty avid about it in the wintertime, and then in the summer they move outdoors and go up to Candy Jack. So they're playing year round.
All right.
It's a big movement. I hear it all the time, and it's always in my ear, so it's something that we're absolutely planning for in the new rec center.
We might see a league going on sometime.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I think it's overdue for a league. And,
all right.
Yeah. So definitely something that we can look forward to, and just have some more adult stuff is another focus.
Yeah.
Want to give some more adult leagues an opportunity to grow and take form here.
One of the big pulls for the town is 3-on-3. Do you guys facilitate a lot of 3-on-3, or do you get a lot of buzz around basketball around this time, or how did that influence?
Yeah, so that 3-on-3 tournament is actually run through the Booster Club, and they do a phenomenal job running that. We do own the hoops that they use for it. They're all stored here at the Armory, cool. But they kind of do it all. We don't have to do much for them as far as helping them out. They get the people together and they organize it, and that's all through the Booster Club. So they're responsible for that, and they do a great job, like I said. And we're we definitely see an uptick, and occasionally a phone call wanting to sign up for it, and then kind of have to direct them to where the registration
is. That's not us, but
yeah, it's not us, but we'll help you get there, and I won't just pass you off to someone else either. I'll let you know where the registration is, and so that's all through them, and they do a great job. But
it's not so you guys aren't directly involved in doing that. You just help store the equipment, and like there's some affiliation, but it's more of like just helping out rather than actually being a place to go for that 3-on-3 and stuff. But what about doing like youth leagues, adult leagues, leading up to 3-on-3, so where these kids have time to practice with their buddies and maybe try to take on that challenge?
Yeah, so we do have open gym times there at the Armory. It's typically from like noon to 5 is kids will come in and shoot hoops, and that's unorganized practice time where they can just kind of come in, and if they want to start a pickup game, they can, but it's free space. We do our adult league during the winter there. That wraps up middle of April about. So,
okay,
if you're older than 16, you can technically be involved in the adult league. Anyone under 18 will obviously need their parents' guardian signature on the waiver.
Understandable.
And then, anyone over 18 can sign for themselves. But if you're 16 or over, you can actually play in the adult league. So I know this year we had the One-Eyed Buffalo team was made up of mostly younger
cool.
kids. So they
schooling all of us old guys, huh?
Yep. Yeah, they were bringing it to us. So yeah, it's cool to see, get a mixture of that older crowd and maybe some younger ones. We need to rejuvenate our adult leagues. So as some people feel that they're aging out and decide to opt out, we need that influx as well.
Yeah. Out with the old, in with the new. Is that what you're trying to say?
and really, I'd hope people would stick around longer than they feel sometimes. But it's you can't ask them to do anything.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just my shoulders, and I don't know if I can be.
Yep. So. Yeah, we like to bring in the younger generation to kind of keep those adult sports going, and we need teams, and that's always a thing. No matter what sport it is, the more teams we can get, the more fun it is, because then you're not playing the same people over again, and it just more people in general are involved and invested, and
right, it shakes up the competition, makes it more fun when you're not playing against the same person that fouls you all the time. I'm looking at you. That kind of thing. So, right on, man. Let's try to get some of these younger people involved in this kind of stuff. And one thing we do like as adults is we have like dart league or pool league and things like that. And those, I always find those to be so much more enjoyable. Like, you're throwing darts or you're shooting some pool, but like what ends up happening is a lot more of that community, a lot more of that like learning new friends and making enemies. Like it's like meshing with a lot more people that you wouldn't normally mesh with, just going to work, going home, like. Right. And so then you end up meeting, oh man, that person's actually kind of funny to hang out with.
And I don't do any of those leagues, and I don't drink, so I don't really go out very much anymore, but I do miss the socialism of it. I miss going to play pool and darts, and I've always had a lot of fun doing that. Even hanging out with some friends, and we're just sitting there like, I'll play some pool, I'll play some darts. I'm 100% down for that. I love that. I love the socialism of the activities. So
what about like you and me, pickup game, basketball at the Armory,
You're trying to kill me.
No.
As long as we play horse, so I don't have to run, I'll be okay.
We can do donkey basketball. Maybe they can hook us up.
There you go. Yeah, that's coming up.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, yep. I reshared the flyer for it on the Rec District page.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was so excited. I really wanted to go. I wanted to do some coverage as the podcast for it, but it wasn't in the cards. I had to work that night. But man, people ride around on donkeys and they play basketball doing this. Okay, I didn't hear of this until I got to this small town, Wyoming, Thermopolis here, and I was blown away. I'm like, what are they doing riding horses? So do they have to repair?
Not horses. Donkeys, not horses.
Donkeys. It's a big difference. Maybe
it is a difference.
Do we have sheep basketball too? That'd be kind of fun. Like kids, like you have like kiddie hoops, and they can ride around like on a sheep or something. That'd be wild. Right. I don't know. I'm making something up right here. Maybe the Power Wheels again. We bring those back out. Stars and Pipes. Where you at? We need a basketball league with these guys. and we got the rec department here, rec district here to be able to help facilitate that. That'd be pretty tight.
Yeah, and that just circles.
So if I have a kooky idea, I come to you.
Exactly.
Between the hours of 8 and 5.
8 to 5.
Go up there and be like, hey, this idea, it's wild.
Yep.
But like, can we do it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I got a nephew, and I soup up his Power Wheel, and then we start doing it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we're extremely receptive to ideas. So if you're someone there sitting at home and you just like, there's nothing out here, you don't think that there's anything that we're providing that is really, fulfilling what you want, like bring it to our attention and come get in our ear and like we want to support new things. And
So do you guys have anything to do with the skate park?
so we do not. The skate park is run and managed and maintained through Youth Alternatives.
Oh, like Barb Rice.
Barb Rice, Dan
Okay.
Blair. They are.
Shout out to
you
my
guys.
uncle.
Yo.
And Barb. Shout out to you guys.
The learning center down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
All
they,
right, so
and they
they-
do a great job. So recently, last year, they came to us during funding requesting time and had asked for some money to fix the surfacing material on the ramps over there because it was pretty chewed up and, to be honest with you, a little bit unsafe. Well, probably more than a little bit, but.
Maybe. Allegedly.
Yes, yep. I have to agree. It was pretty bad. And so the Rec District did allot them some money to get
Cool.
that fixed. And recently I went to the Skate Thermopolis meeting that was over there at Common Grounds.
Oh, okay.
And they discussed their plan for the material that they were ordering. A lot of community members that are interested came to that and discussed some of the pros and cons of all that decisions. And then I think we came to a common ground, and they.
That was very punny. I love the puns.
Right, it just hit me, and I had to.
I'm really
went for
happy
it.
of that. I'm so proud of you. I just want you to know.
That hits me good. All right. As many of these lame dad jokes we could put in, I'm in it. I'm here. I'm here for that.
So yeah, they figured out what they were going to order up. I believe that order has been placed, and we should be taking delivery, or they should be taking delivery on that material. I told them that if there's any way that we can assist, if they need to store it on our side lot at the armory, whatever we can do, like we'll be there to help. But there should be repairs being done, and hopefully, I think by the end of May, we should be looking at a rejuvenated skate park. Cool. And if you don't know where the skate park is, where a lot of community members do not know where this alleged skate park exists in Thermopolis, you're going to want to head over to the Armory building if you know where that is. It's right next to the T-Hill trailhead, the baseball fields, the fairgrounds are right over there. It's right behind the baseball fields, and then at the base of T-Hill. So you should find it right over there.
Yep,
and
right in the back over there.
Yep, you got some good ramps, and it's not extremely expansive, but I think after the repair is done, it'll be a awesome place.
It'll be cool
for people to recreate.
When I first moved here, I was trying to do the whole skateboard thing,
Oh, you were cool.
And then I went down. I didn't go down like the half pipe or anything because I'm not that cool. But I was like, this one looks easy. I'm gonna try and go down that one. Busted my butt. Fell hard. And I was like, we ain't doing that again.
Oh, no.
I'll just use the concrete or
I'll just be cool. I dropped into a bowl once on rollerblades for the first time. I got the nerve to do it, and it was so scary. Yeah, I went down, I went up like expected, but going out after that, I was like, how do I come back down? And
Yeah, right.
So I just kind of fell onto the side. Like, oh, yep.
Yeah.
That was good for a day, or good for the rest of my life, probably on dropping in.
Yeah.
And stuff. So do you skateboard? Do you do anything like that?
Not currently, but as growing up, I was into it heavily. Me and some friends, so we did a lot of skateboarding, and yeah,
You shred.
Was
Huh?
at a decent level, nothing that was
Not Tony Hawk.
Not Tony Hawk, but I was pretty proud of what I was able to do on a skateboard and some of the tricks and obstacles and all of that. But that's something I sort of got phased out of. And I don't really know exactly why, but yeah, just something that phased out of my life.
You're not playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and being like, I got this. Yeah.
Dude, I love that they remastered it. I got it on my PlayStation 5. That was fun.
So you're able to do a kickflip or
yep.
yeah.
And a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And I had a lot
stuff.
of friends that were much better than me, so I was constantly kind of chasing after them and trying to learn the tricks that they already knew.
It's always a cool culture.
Yeah. Yep. And so that consumed at least 3 or 4 years of my younger life, and it was our life. It was our life.
Yeah,
so.
we all find our niches as we're
Yeah.
kind of growing up into how we relate.
Yeah, I got into longboarding, and I like it a lot better than skateboarding for sure.
No doubt, it was big, huge for a while. Everyone was longboarding. Skateboarding was out. Longboarding was in. Yeah,
I miss having a longboard, but cracked my head open coming down a corner. I was living in Sheridan at the time, came around a corner, and there was a lip on the concrete in the bridge and just struck it, knocked me
man.
out. That was cool
You're like, that was the end of my career.
for a while, and then I got back on, and then the anxiety started building up, and I was like, well, guess we're gonna put this on pause for a while.
Maybe that was for my younger days.
yeah. Too old for that now, man.
So what do you do now? I see a lot of dirt biking on your Facebook.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So-
Yeah, it's one of my favorite activities. So I'm a big dirt biker. Love to go out into the mountains and trail ride, and find really, really hard, challenging trails, and just go on big adventures and get way back there. And love riding the dirt bike. Big into mountain biking as well. So that pairs together. And then in the winter time, it's a lot of snowboarding.
Wow.
Snowmobiling a little bit. I dipped my toes into since moving out here, and not something I ever did back east, but yeah.
Snowboarding's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yep. Had an awesome winter this winter on the snowboard, so we got pretty decent snow on a lot of the mountains that I went to.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So, yep, big into that, and always have been. I grew up skiing and then eventually switched over to snowboarding. So,
Something I've always wanted to do was snowing. Was snowing. Just thought it'd be cool to do that.
Speaking of your weather tomorrow, you're expecting some snow.
Yeah, as we had a great weekend at like almost 80 degrees.
Unfortunate.
And yeah. But snowboarding, skiing, I don't know why I mixed those up. But, it's the Mondays, guys. It's the Mondays. So then I wanted to do this kind of stuff. Is this something like I could bring to the outing club or bring to you and be like, hey, I don't have the stuff. I don't know what to do. I'm not from around here.
yeah.
Like, am I able to find a way to be able to make it from the couch to the snow slopes?
Absolutely. So through the outing club, currently we do offer some skiing, snowboarding outings. We did a couple this past winter, just up to Antelope Butte. And, if you're new, if you're really experienced, whatever your ability level is,
Brand new.
This will fit your need. So we announce the dates and we get discount codes we get group rates. So you'll get a little bit of a discount. And the great thing about Antelope Butte, shout out to them, is they offer free skiing to anyone under 18. So they'll free season pass. If you just go sign up, you need a parent to sign you up, but they'll offer you a free season pass. So that's an amazing thing that they're offering, and reason why I chose to go there for the 2 outings that we had this past winter is it's just that barrier to entry is even that much lower.
Wow.
What we're not able to provide currently is the transportation piece, which I know is huge. So I know that hurts the involvement a little bit, but it's maybe possibly something that we can get into in the future.
If there's enough
buy-in. It's just there's a lot of liability and then cost that comes with it. So we've steered away initially. But yeah, so we do offer those outings, and then you can get signed up through them. We'll get you discounts on rental gear as well. So if you're new and you don't have any gear, you get discounts for that, as well as your lift ticket. And then you can sign up for lessons through them. Obviously, if you link up with someone in the community that wants to teach you and do some informal lessons, that's another option for you if you're really trying to cut the costs and and not do a formal lesson with them. You can, I'm always
community resources.
Absolutely, and I'm always interested if we're doing one of these outings and we're up at Antelope Butte and you want to learn how to snowboard. I'll spend a few hours with you out there and do my best in teaching you. I'm no pro instructor, but I know what has helped me learn. And I can hopefully pass it along to you and give you some sort of,
Are we too late in the season for me to get on a slope?
Currently, most of the mountains are closed around here. So I know Antelope Butte and Meadowlark, the 2 closest resorts, are closed now. They have a Forest Service lease that I believe cuts them off at a certain date that they can operate.
That's fair.
So even if the snow is great, they do have an ending of their season.
Their season end.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
well, that's cool. Then maybe next season I'll be able to try to get in that. So my kids are free under 18.
Yes,
so I'm a few days older than that, so I won't be able to. But I can bring my kiddos to Antelope Butte, and then they'll at least be able. What about rental gear and all that stuff for them? Do I still got to make sure I put out for that?
Yeah, I believe that's still at a cost.
Okay. So
I
I rental my
that-
gear, but they can actually do the lift passes and
Yes.
stuff for free.
Yep.
And so they can get on the slopes or they can do that. So
Exactly.
as long as I'm able to pay for the rental stuff, the gear that they need, put them in warm clothing, and then I can.
Yep.
I don't have to participate myself.
No.
Because sometimes cost can be a thing
Sure.
for people. We all wish we had unlimited money, but
Yeah.
my son went with the school on a trip. I think probably to Antelope Butte, and they did a big snowing. I said snowing again. Call me out. You can call me out now. All right. So a big trip, a big ski trip, snowboarding trip, skiing, snowboarding. Yeah, there we go.
I mean, it's no different
That's
than earlier when we were at breakfast. And you're like, yeah, you moved here in
where I'm at.
2001, 3 years ago. Like, okay,
Yeah. Okay.
it's Monday.
It's Monday. Sometimes it's not always about cost. Like I have transportation. I have my kids want to go do it again, but I don't have the hundreds of dollars to be able to do that stuff. But I could at least drive them there, and maybe I could pay for the rental gear and let them have a good time, so I can be able to facilitate my kids' interest in that kind of stuff. I have one kid; he'll do everything on your calendar here.
Yeah.
If you let him. He's every day of the week he'll be doing something with you. He loves baseball and he loves basketball, any sport he can get, anything that's physical. He's there. He's a monster with that stuff, and he's good. And he's good. He takes something and he's just like he hyper focuses. He got that ADHD brain, and he's just like, I'm in, and I'm like, man. Pick cheaper hobbies. And he always wants to be in the most dangerous position. He's like, which one has the most stuff coming after them? I'm like, well, I guess the hockey goalie. And they're like, I'm being the hockey goalie. I'm like, stop. You're like 30 pounds soaking wet and you're going to have pucks shot at you. He's like, that's what I'm doing, Dad. If I'm going to do it, that's what I'm like, he baseball, he's a catcher. He's like, just swing the bat near my face, throw the 100-mile-an-hour ball at me. He's like, come on, dude. You have enough concussions, you might be out of a professional career, and you're like 11. Like, man, dude. So he's always into all this kind of stuff. So shout out Eli, love you, son. He's always trying to like, hey, Dad, yeah. So baseball's tonight, right? Yep. Monday.
Yes, sir.
What is today? May the 5th. Because May
Happy
the 4th.
Cinco de Mayo.
It's Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah,
Man,
bro.
see, I'm already behind. May the 4th was yesterday. I totally missed it. I didn't watch a single Star Wars thing. Didn't even hear the theme song. Should have done that at least, huh?
You were a terrible nerd.
I'm a terrible nerd. Yeah, my nerd card's getting a little weak, a little soggy. So tonight, Cinco de Mayo is going to be the first night for baseball.
Yeah, so Legion and Little League will start tonight. Coach pitch and T-ball doesn't start until June.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those older kids, the Little League and the Legion, they'll start their practices and get going, and they'll have their games starting here later this month. And those game schedules have been put out. And if you're wondering where to stay up to date on all the Thermopolis baseball things, you want to hop on their Facebook page if you're on there, and if you're not, sign up for the Remind app. And that allows you to join different, what they're called classes, different groups basically. And Thermopolis Baseball has their own group, and we also have one at the rec. And this is where we're going to post a lot of notifications. Maybe practice gets canceled or something like that. And what's great about the app is, it doesn't give you a bunch of needless notifications, but when there is something put out, it's sent right directly through your phone.
Cool.
And you're notified. So that way you don't have to go digging after it to wonder, oh, is there baseball tonight? Because it looks like it's really rainy outside. It's like, nope, they'll tell you. It'll come right to you.
Gotcha.
So that's a big thing I highly encourage, and I make different groups on Remind for all of our different sport programs throughout the year, and then we have one overarching recreation department that you can be involved with. So
And this is the Remind app.
Yeah, the Remind app. It will have a blue logo with an R on it.
Okay.
And it'll be pretty easy. You can get it off the App Store, Google Play Store, whatever you get your apps off of. It's there. And I just find it to be a very useful, seamless app that doesn't annoy you. It's not, giving you a bunch of these push notifications and clogging up,
Yeah, telling you about every drop of water that hits the ground.
Exactly. Just the stuff you need to know. And
Do I get to opt into what I want to know? So maybe I'm not part of soccer, so I can uncheck that box, or
So yeah, that's where I have the different groups. So for each sport has a different class, is what they call them.
class. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So I join that class. class.
Yeah, if you
or
join that
group.
class,
Yeah.
like you'll just get the youth soccer stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then
So I can opt in and out of what I want to hear from that app. Yeah.
I tend to do double share it with the overarching recreation department class because just in case someone didn't sign up or didn't get in on this class, but they are in the rec department one, I don't want them to miss notifications.
That's great. Yeah.
So if you are on that, recreation department one, you're going to get notifications for all the sports.
So please try to get the right class that you're pertaining to. But if you don't, by chance, think of it, it'll at least be on the main feed.
Yeah. And if you're wondering, because they all have specific, codes that you can type in to join these classes, they're all listed within like the sign up sheets, the practice info sheets. They're trying to put them out there in as many different places as possible. So,
right. Yeah.
And if you're just wondering, and you can always shoot me an email, give me a call. Like I don't mind at all.
Okay.
People reaching out. So I'd rather have people reach out and me be there for them than them to be wondering about something and feel like they can't reach out.
If I'm really reaching out to you and I don't have a lot of time, but I'm trying to be respectful of your time, is calling you, texting you, Facebook messaging you, where would be a good way to get back to you soon, but also not impede on like your personal life?
I'm personally okay with any of those, so I'll take a call on a weekend if I can. There might be times where I'm away or even out of cell phone range or something like that where I can't maybe talk, but I'm very receptive to any of those things. So it's really just whatever the person is most comfortable with. I want them to be able to engage with me however they're most comfortable.
Understandable, yeah. So reaching out via Facebook or something, you'll still get a hold of you.
Nothing is off limits.
And it's easy to find you on
maybe
Facebook.
Showing up and knocking on my door might be a little bit.
Yeah.
But
when's practice tomorrow? Dude, it's like 9 at night. What are we doing?
Yeah, but
I just really need to know.
No, I'm a very open door, and I just want people to feel like they can reach me and get the answers that they need. So the community's been so great to me that I just really want to be open to them.
Are you with do you work a lot with Chamber of Commerce and things like that as well?
Yep, we collaborate with them. They help share for like news for a lot of our events. Like if we have something coming up, I try to get it on their calendars because they reach so many people here, and I know that's how most people here find out about a lot of these events and things like that is using the Chamber of Commerce, calendar.
Community calendar, yeah.
Yep.
Chamber of Commerce community calendar for Thermopolis. That's where you're going to find the most central hub for information. So if you're not sure what there is to do in Thermopolis, look at the Chamber of Commerce community calendar. There's things posted there all the time. And the more we bring the community people on, talk to people, the more we're going to have more information on there and more information. So we're going to build that up. And I think that, Voice of Thermopolis is really trying to work with the chamber to bring in that information network to people, because we've talked about before is where it's like everybody knows so only pieces of information or certain things that are going on. So maybe you know about the benefit dinner for some so and so, and then you didn't know that it was soccer signups tomorrow. And then I'm like, well, I want to do the benefit dinner, but I didn't know there was a soccer thing because I didn't see this person's Facebook page or that person's side thing, the GoFundMe thing over there, where there's so many different pockets. So, Chamber of Commerce is going to be that central hub to where we're going to bring in a lot of information. And you said you can find all the rec district stuff on there.
Yeah,
well.
We try to share as much of our dates and events details with them as we can. Sometimes I will be honest, things slip through and they don't get to them on time or something like that. So and that's on my part there. So maybe something I'll just.
I'm sure people don't let you forget.
Keep striving. Keep striving for it. And I'm very open to the constructive criticisms. So we want to constantly improve. So if you have something constructive for us, and we can bring it to our table and be like, hey, I see you do it this way, or I see you not doing this. As a parent, as a community member, as whatever their role is here, I appreciate seeing this or it putting this way or whatever.
Right.
I want to hear that because that just makes me more effective, and I don't take it as a slight as long as it's not, formed in that way.
Understandable. Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. Very accepting to that. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. So we covered a lot so far, talking about the big picture things with that and the future. Do you have any I don't know, kind of cool stories or something that has happened to you where it's like, man, this was a really cool moment, or maybe it was a really funny moment, or maybe it was something more tragic than that, where you're like, oh my gosh, this got wild really fast.
Yeah. Well, I'll share a very rewarding moment.
All right.
I'll leave out the person's name.
Yeah.
But I had a parent reach out to me and just tell me about how much their son or daughter loves to play in a specific sport, and that they just really liked having me as a coach and things like that. So that really touched my heart. I love to know that I'm having a positive impact, and kids are liking to show up for practice and wanting to listen and all of that. And all of my other coaches within the rec district are phenomenal. I really want to give it up to them right now. Is if you have ever volunteered as a coach, you are so important to the rec district in making these happen. None of these programs can happen without our coaches and volunteers stepping up and giving their time to us. So
Right, thank you.
Want to congratulate and give props to them. We couldn't do it without them, and we need more. It can be sometimes a struggle getting coaches to fill the positions, but parents always step up. We always find a way. But if you're someone out there and you're interested in getting involved, coaching youth sports, we really want to have you come along and help us out. So definitely don't be shy. These kids need good, positive role models. All you're there is to just give them a positive experience, teach them, and make them want to come back to this sport or activity and just add value to their lives.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that might have knowledge or of being able to do this sport, even the knowledge of some of the rules, or they just feel led to serve their community. And one way you can do that is just by volunteering, being a coach. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to watch a single event that you're pertaining to, but you can go in there and give the kids your time and your effort and help them, and you might grow and you might learn some things yourself going at it too. But these kids they look at their coaches as like, these are really important people to them because they're facilitating and they're helping with such a constructive sport going on. Like I think about soccer. My daughter was that and was just playing soccer. And she's, looking at her coach like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Because they need direction. They want they're there to play. They're there to have fun, but they're there to play too. And so like, you see these coaches that, shout out to Allie. She was her first year. You got her with it was like a message you had put out, something of like, this could be your year to coach or something like that. Is that how'd you say that? Something along those lines. Yeah. Could be your year to coach. And she was like, it's my year. She's like, dang it. Yeah. And now she's enjoying it. I've seen her great with the kids. She's phenomenal. And, she just decided sure, let's give it a shot. Mm-hmm. It's the bar's set pretty low and like failing. What does failing look like when you're teaching kids to kick a ball around? Like, not to oversimplify the soccer enthusiast, I'm sorry. But, some of these guys are so young that, that's what it is to them. Like they get it's playtime, a more structured playtime to be able to do this stuff. And that you're just being that person to let them be able to do it, and maybe show them a little cool things along the way, right? Mm-hmm. And then the shout out to every volunteer that does that because it does take up your time, right? How many days a week do we do soccer now? It's like 3?
Yeah, 3 days a week. So that's 3 nights that they're giving away crucial time where they could be preparing dinners or for their next day or anything else. It's their free time after work, and they're giving it back to the kids, and not just their own kids that may be on the team, but all these other kids. So, they step up in a big way. And if you ever feel like you want to coach, but you're not necessarily the expert, like Aaron was saying, that is no issue. What we can do at the rec district is provide you with practice plans and drills and ideas. And
cool.
I'm here as a resource. So it's like you don't have to come in with much.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our coaches are great, and they do homework on their own, and they build lesson plans, practice plans. They really investigate into different fun games and drills that they can do with the kids to keep them engaged. So like, to be honest, up till now I've had to do very minimal of that providing, but I still do have stuff for every sport. And continuously throughout the season you can always draw back on me, and I will come up with more material for you. So if you're a person that wants to help out and inspire the kids and be a positive role model, but just doesn't have that sport experience, still encourage you to be
come
involved.
talk to you.
Yep, come talk to me, and I'm here to help you get involved.
Maybe it's just help set up equipment for the
could
game
be.
or
Yep.
something cool like that, right? Like
Exactly.
maybe you can find a spot, if people are willing to come help even with a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Maybe that'd be something they can do, right?
Exactly.
So
Yep.
there's always like some sort of equipment that needs to make it to the field or some sort of small setup stuff that maybe you don't have time with or that could help take that off your plate that
Sure.
some volunteer to, it's you're not having to coach a whole team, but maybe you could still be involved with some of that kind of stuff and it helps out
Yep.
tremendously. So yeah, and to any capacity, if anybody wants to help you out and or be part of these programs and stuff like that, they just gotta come down to the Armory there. It's always going to be called the Armory. You can rebrand the building, you can paint it, you make it look like a flamingo, and people are going to call it the Armory.
Yep, it's well known as the Armory.
So go down the Armory and talk to you about. It's an old National Guard Armory. It's basically a historical building at this point, right? And it's pretty
believe
close
so.
to
Yeah.
to where it was a National Guard Armory, and now it's being used as our rec district, and so no longer has any affiliation with the National Guard other than. That's what it was originally.
Yep.
They host drills there. They had equipment there and everything like that. But now all that's stripped away, and you're left with an empty building. And they plopped you guys in there, and then they're trying to just under your direction now, right? Trying to build something bigger, like the big vision. Do you guys have like a vision board? Do you guys have like this big board? You're like this and this and this and this. And
Yeah, we
like,
have our list of amenities and things we want to see in the building, in a rough plan mapped out mentally and on paper.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely know the direction we want to move and what we want to see in this new building. Like I said, we're at those early stages, and we'll soon be approaching the architectural draw-ups. So
wow.
yeah, we're getting close to
What's
that.
the timeline? What's close mean? Decade? 5
Putting me on the
years?
spot here. Yeah. I mean,
A decade's a long time, guys.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, hopefully, well before that.
yeah, that'd be cool.
So
So within the decade.
Yeah,
Looking
yeah.
out for 2020 or 2030.
that would-
2030, I'll tell you.
yeah, and
2035.
we're looking to be as proactively moving on it as possible. So
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
We don't want to wait on it. We don't want to sit on it. We want to be fairly aggressive with it, and obviously the support of the community means a ton. We're not
Right.
asking for your tax dollars necessarily. We're
Cool.
just asking for your community support and your input and like what you want to see in this new rec center. Like we want to have arts and crafts rooms. We want to have open like classrooms, conference rooms. So maybe if you guys wanted to do a podcast, there's a space where you can just say, hey, like I want to reserve this room.
Right.
Or whatever.
That'd be pretty cool.
You have reading clubs, writing clubs, just whatever you want to start. It doesn't necessarily have to be controlled by the rec district, but just offering spaces that these groups and these programs can flourish in.
To do recreational things.
Exactly. And yeah, recreational things are very wide range.
Broad.
Yeah, very broad. So you don't have to be out in a field throwing a ball.
Right.
You can be inside, sharing creative
Knitting a
ideas
sweater.
and knitting, or
That'd be cool.
It's really, really all over the place. So we're here to help our seniors. We're here to help the little ones that are in pre-K.
Pre-K.
We just
Cool.
we want to be able to reach out and touch everyone.
How long are we on our timer? Do you know? I have no idea either. It's fine. I just don't want to run too late for you. That's all. So I was
you're
kinda
good.
worried.
It is
I-
11:50. That's all.
Oh, okay. So we're
I don't
only
have a strict, cutoff. but
good. You get to hang out longer
Yeah.
with that. That's cool. I just didn't want to get
You're good. Yeah, I appreciate
get you running too late. It's lunch hour. It's a big hour
Yeah.
on those 9 to 5 jobs.
Yep.
So what's your typical day look like? You show up at the office at 8 a.m. and unlock the doors. And what are you doing? What are 5 things you did this week?
Well, this
All right,
week
now
is-
he's trying to get too personal here. Calm down.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of running around town kind of errands, maybe dropping off checks or picking up certain things, touching base, going to the accountant's office, whatever it may be. There's mailing things out, going to the post office. Yeah, just checking the P.O. box. And there's a little bit of that for sure. And then you got to be, in the office to, get phone calls and, respond to emails, do your scheduling, maybe put out flyers, notifications, things like that.
It's probably a lot of your job, huh? It's like
yeah.
making sure all the information is still in line.
And then maybe, you know, looking forward to like, what do we have upcoming? Okay, let's prepare this. Like, what equipment maybe do we need to buy for this program that's upcoming? Okay, let's run the inventory list. Let's check to see how many we had last year in this sport. Okay, if we graduate that to the next level, what does this age division look like, rough-wise numbers? And a lot of that just pre-planning things to make sure that when the season's ready, I'm not like, you know, waiting for equipment to
how
come
many
in or
shirts
something,
do I need?
which has, I will admit, like, you know, there's been football seasons where we blow through all of the medium pants, and then there's a kid that needs a medium, and I'm like, oh, they're on the way, but yeah, we just didn't have enough. So I always, you know, look at that as something I can improve on and be even
But you're thinking
better
of
at.
that ahead of time. That's like what your job is like anticipating some of that. So it's not like, well, we only have 3 pairs of medium pants, guys. I know there's 15 of you, but like, I promise.
And good thing it hasn't been that bad, but
because you already thought about this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
So it could have been like that.
It
Maybe,
could've, yeah. There's definitely scenarios where it was like we ordered a ton of, you know, like extra pants or something, and then they all get used, and it's like, good thing I ordered those. I should have actually ordered more.
Yeah, like,
but stuff like that is common. And then another part of the job is just kind of like touching base with, like, there's a lot of, you know, contacts going back and forth. So when you're working on a project like a new rec center, you're always, you know, reaching out to this person or that person. Then okay, you need to hear back from them, and then it's trying to move the ball along with a ton of different people in different directions for different things, and just making sure that you're not like forgetting someone and pausing progress somewhere. So that's been a huge area of growth for me, is just, you know, it can be overwhelming, especially stepping into a role like this for the first time.
Right.
I don't have prior experience of being a recreation director, so that's all been learning and just getting better at that time management skill, and then building your systems and routines so that they, you know, help support your work and making sure things are on time and addressed properly, and that way you can report back to board members and, you know, give them updates, and hopefully positive updates on what you've got going on. And then there's always something new and always a wrench thrown into the plan that, you know, it takes time and focus, and you have to go off in this direction, and, you know, something that just comes up or happens. So there's a lot of that. And then just community meetings, I like to try to be involved with those. So I went to the community action plan meeting this past week. I believe it was Thursday. And got to sit on that. Sherry Shield has been doing a ton with Thrive Thermopolis. So she's helped driving that community action plan, and a big part of that is just connecting all these different entities and interests within Thermopolis and making sure we work cohesively together. So the Chamber of Commerce was there, Marianne, and a bunch of other leaders in the community were there just to listen in and you know, see where we were at. So I encourage the public, if you just want to know more, I mean, these are all open to the public. You don't have to be a certain position or whatever in the town. You can come, you know, make your voice be heard, and obviously try to be constructive with that. And that's what it's all about.
But the more community feedback, the more we can be community, right?
Yeah.
Have that input. And, you know, if you're concerned with the way things are going or things look or are presented, whatever, if you're concerned about the town, you can, you know, show up to these meetings and maybe get a little understanding at the back, behind the curtain, to kind of sort of speak of what's going on. And like, there are plenty of people that are trying to move the proverbial stone up this hill of like keeping the town growing, keeping the town moving, but they don't always get notified. You know, they're not always out there to the public. You know, a lot of this stuff is like, you know, you in your office working for 3 hours trying to get a hold of this person that's going to help you do these things, but that whole town is like, why aren't we doing these things? And you're like, 3 hours today was spent alone on this, but you won't know that, like the unsung hero scenario, right? Like, I spent all day long on literally the same thing you're concerned about. So like, and I come to these meetings and I let you know, like, I spent 3 hours working on this direction that we're trying to do for, you know, for the community. And then if you're at that meeting, you go, oh, Brian's been working on this the whole time. Like, it's not him just sitting in his office playing cell phone games, playing chess against himself or just dirt biking around all day.
I never understood that. Playing chess against yourself, I never understood that. Then again, I don't understand chess. Never really been my forte. So.
All right, maybe it's a rec department situation.
Chess club.
Yeah, see, there's something for everybody.
I mean, there's something for. I didn't say I wanted to be a part of it. I'm just saying. I mean, it's a good idea, but
wouldn't that be interesting? Like a competitive chess scene opening up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I play Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
So I'm a card guy.
Hey, there you go. You could get a group together.
I've always been my dream, to bring. I keep starting little pocket communities, and then it kind of fades out and it ebbs and flows. But kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, by the way. Like maybe we can.
And the nerd card is
LARPing. LARPing would be so cool. Get the foam swords out and bonk each other in the park.
Geez.
Come on, that'd be fun.
That's funny.
Yeah. So like, I've always wanted to like do some sort of like cool, like a card game. Magic the Gathering's the most prolific one, but doing like a card game club and being able to connect with people that are, because as collectors, as nerds, we have like, we have our interests and we like these things, but here in say like Thermopolis, where we're only having 2,700 people in town, and a good 60% of those people are elderly. They're not playing Magic the Gathering with me. They're not playing chess, per se, like, that kind of stuff. They're not playing the weird niche that I have, that if I was in a bigger town, I would be able to like have more. So places like the Rec District, places like the Chamber of Commerce, places like the Common Grounds, the Learning Center, those are like hubs where we can bring these ideas for and like build those up, and then I can maybe find players. Like I put a thing on there, and then like, oh, so and so is interested, and so and so is interested. Oh, look, I learned 5 new other people that are in this weird niche of pickleball, or that I wanted to do, and now we have a group and we're actually able to play. Yeah. So you'd be surprised, huh? Like, does that happen a lot where people have like, hey, what about? Hear me out. We take these wiffle balls and we take this paddle and we start slapping it around. Like, do you know anybody that wants to do that? And you're like, well, maybe we'll check the pulse. Does that happen? Or it can happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Hasn't happened quite much yet.
Not a ton, and we want to just encourage more of that. But we want to support your ideas and your interests, and it starts with you and you letting us know what that is and where we can support you. And I want to also just bring to importance the funding request time. So every year in February, we review funding requests. So prior to our meeting in February, we send out a funding request form, and it's typically for organizations and established groups to apply for funding. And so if you need equipment, if you need, fees for tournaments. So just for some of the examples of, different clubs, like the high school rodeo team,
That's a thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. We have a high school rodeo team?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yep.
We're going to come back to that.
Yeah. So, like Thermopolis, Nerf, Nick and
the Nerf.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Nick
Nerf Wars.
Jess,
Nick,
there.
Flores. Yeah.
Yeah, they do an amazing job, and they bring kids together, and they do Nerf battles in the park.
Yeah. Shout out to that little business there. That's cool.
Yeah, the kids just love it, and so we try to help support them, and obviously there's like the baseball board and the basketball board and the wrestling club and the Bighorn Bow Hunters.
Wow.
The list goes on. But we really do want to give some of the funding that we get for recreation to these recreational groups, and they're not controlled by the rec district, but there are certain requirements. Maybe an individual just can't come in and ask for thousands of dollars to go do an activity. They want to see establishment of a group or just to keep the funding and where the money goes reasonable. Easy to track, and just when it comes to these kind of funds.
Man, so I can't just get $10,000 in funding to buy Magic cards, huh?
Unfortunately, no. Unless you could create a group and a board that has a treasurer, an official bank account, and if you do the back end work and you really invest your time and effort into it, we can help with the funding, and we want to help different groups with different activities. We're not just basketball, baseball, ball sport focused.
Right.
Where there might be a bit of a misconception because that's a lot of what our core is these
Sure.
sports.
Yeah.
But like we outreach much farther than just what we offer ourselves. Like we can help with the Outdoor Alliance and all of their projects. They have done an amazing job building these trail systems in town. Great trails, phenomenal to bike on, to hike on.
Yeah, they did the.
Oh, the trails are cool.
The words are difficult for me this morning. Redid the trail for Round Top. Last few years, I think it was, and I think it's to make it easier for people to actually hike up instead of just a straight shot.
Yeah, because it was kind of steep for a minute there, yeah. And then
Yeah.
at the very top, you had to actually climb, and then that was really difficult for some people.
Yep.
And now it's kind of rounded out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think now it just kind of loops around and gets up there, kind of like T Hill, where it just comes up and around.
Is that T Hill that's over at the Armory?
T Hill is
That
right behind the
T-Hill
Armory
trail?
building. Yep.
I love that trail.
Yep,
I've
and-
done that one probably about a dozen times.
Yep, and that's connected right. You can take it down to the backside and go across the old airstrip where the runway is there, and connect that to the Round Top Trail as well.
What?
Yep, they actually connect, and not a lot of people know that.
Not at
but,
all.
Yep, those two trail systems, those two trails connect to each other, and they can be used. Like you could link, or if you're doing a mountain bike ride, you can.
Yeah.
I've done it before where you go up T Hill and then down towards Round Top, and then up Round Top, back down, and then back
Whoa.
towards T Hill, and you can do a decently substantial ride just based off of those two trails alone. We have a lot of good trails within the state park too that are shorter but still very, very nice, well built, well maintained. So yeah, and I know the Outdoor Alliance is even focused more on building some new trails in town. So we're going to see growth in that area. And I can't say enough about all the work that they do behind the scenes. I feel like not a lot of people know that they are the reason that we have these trails, and they map them out for you too, so you can
There's
get a
a
map of all of our trails here in town.
I did a cool challenge with the kids because I'd like to hike the trails and stuff, and I was like, all right, today we're gonna go all three hills. We're gonna do Round Top, then we're gonna do T, and then we're gonna do Monument. Why did I put Monument last? Doesn't cross my mind why.
Steep,
But
yeah.
it's steep.
Yep.
Like it is. How long is that trail? You'd say maybe a quarter mile, but it's
maybe,
like
yeah.
it's just up.
A straight
It's
shot,
basically
yeah.
stairs. You're just
There are stairs in one part of it.
yeah.
Yep.
So you're basically doing like a quarter mile stretch of just stairs up to the top of this one. And so we did Round Top, which it's got its own steepness. These are all pretty substantial. Look up Round Top in Thermopolis, Wyoming. It's a really cool hill. It looks like someone just kind of cut off the top of it. But we did that, and then we did T Hill, and then we went to Monument, and it was like, okay, if you don't want to do the third at this point, we've already done 2 hikes on top of that. Like, you don't have to, but
I think
like,
it
it'd be
was
cool.
either Monument or Round Top. One of them used to be a volcano. I think.
Whoa.
I think. Don't quote me for sure.
Don't
but
quote you.
I
Allegedly.
believe that's allegedly. That's what I heard was that one of them used to be like a volcano that just
Whoa, it might be Round Top.
Died.
Then, huh? What do you know about it? Maybe.
Oh, I've never heard about that.
Yeah.
But Round Top
I'm
sort of
gonna
has
Google
that
it,
look.
'cause
we're
I'm
we're,
pretty
we're
sure.
putting like I have this inspiration to do Exploring 307 as like a segment where we basically take the podcast and we go explore places like Hell's Half Acre. They did the movie filming for
Yep.
Starship Troopers. Like
Yep.
it's a big claim to fame we have, but like that movie is so prolific in our history that but you say the movie and people know, and then you could to think it was filmed there. It'd be really cool. So like exploring some of these areas. I want to do locally focused too. So we're definitely gonna do the Dinosaur Center. We're gonna have a whole thing for the Dinosaur Center I want to do. So we'll go in there and do a whole tour and explore all the little spots and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to bring you on as an outdoor enthusiast. We already have Braden Harvey with Stars and Pipes, and we have you. So now we're having like this team coming together of like, it'd be really cool to just have these experiences and show people that like how outdoors or how Wyoming can be fun.
So I think real quick the confusion. It says while not a classic erupting volcano, Round Top Mountain, located just north of Thermopolis, exhibits a unique geological formation that resembles a volcano. So I think that's maybe where the confusion is there.
Resembles.
Yeah, it's a prominent feature in the area, reaching about 6,000 feet above sea level. And it is the highest point in the immediate vicinity of Thermopolis.
Round Top is. Mm-hmm. Wow. I guess I would have put probably T Hill pretty close to it, right? They seem like they're.
Yeah, when you're on top of Round Top, you're slightly looking down on T Hill.
You
Just
are?
slightly.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
Yep. But yeah. And real quick, while we're on that subject, I just want to give a shout out to Wagon Hound Off-Road Park. Have you guys heard of that?
Wagon Hound? No, I have not.
So it's just north of town here, like you're headed towards Cody.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And you can look it up on Google, and it'll give you an exact pin to where the staging area, parking area is. But it's actually located on private land that's been, you've been given permission to recreate. So there's a lot of Jeep trails. You can mountain bike, dirt bike, four-wheel. It's really like your off-roader's paradise, so to speak.
I did not know that existed.
In this area.
That's cool.
So,
What's the name again?
Wagon Hound Off-Road Park.
Oh,
so
right.
look it up on Google. Check them out on Facebook. They have their own Facebook page, and they're doing some really cool things. Recently, the Rec District granted them some funding for trail signage and other things to just further bolster the, the look and the accessibility of the area. But yeah, it's.
Do they do rentals? Like, can I rent a four-wheeler or something?
Not of now, no.
Okay.
Not as of now, but they do. Yeah, it's free to use. They have a donation box, so I would encourage donations because they are in need of those funds to help grow it, and even just a few bucks.
Sure.
Every time you go, a couple bucks just really goes a long way. So check them out, and if you're an off-road enthusiast, you want somewhere to bring your Jeep, your rock crawler, your four-wheeler, dirt bike, even mountain bikes, they said. It's an awesome area that you can go and they have different trails all established through there, and they'll have signage soon enough. And trail maps and all of that at the kiosk at the parking area. But, yep.
Okay.
They do an annual event, and I want to say that it's in July, and I really should have a date to kind of give out on the podcast, but they have an annual event where they bring people together. You can camp out right at the staging area, and it's awesome. You just get a bunch of like-minded folks together and go out on trail rides, and
sweet,
really cool event. So if you're into that sort of stuff, check it out. Check out when their event is. I believe it's in July at some point. I know it's in the summer, but
man, that'd be a blast. I gotta try to find some buddies or something that's got four-wheelers or side-by-sides, and then we could go spend a day out there, take the kids. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. Is there like a waiver I have to sign or anything to use these trails, or is it use at your own risk kind of thing?
Use at your own risk.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So it's really real accessible. Yeah. You can just kind of get out there and go, and Should
I take my Ford 500 down it? Am I gonna have a wild time with that?
You probably have a wild time. Yeah. There's some really challenging trails out there, and I've seen pictures. Haven't got to fully experience it myself, but I'm thinking about taking my dirt bike out there with some buddies.
Let's go, yeah,
and just making a day of it. So
I can bring a gas can at least. I have that.
Let me ride on the back of your dirt bike, and I will supply the gas.
Oh my gosh! I get big spoon. Yeah, hold on. I'm a little bit bigger. I don't know, the dirt bike. I probably
we'll stiffen up the suspension. We'll get it right.
Recognize the suspension won't enjoy me. Yeah,
that's so
two
funny.
grown ass adults on there, and that'd be funny.
But yeah, you can use all sorts of different vehicles out there. So whatever you got, I would stray away from your daily driver, because in case you break
it's a good way to turn it into a derby car.
Hey, speaking of derby car, we got Figure 8 coming up next weekend.
Yeah,
that's always fun.
So we're gonna have Voice of Thermop there, right?
Hopefully, possibly.
You're gonna be doing some work over there. I have to work, but we'll have Taylor on the ground.
I'm at least gonna try and do some interviews there and go from there. I'll just have to get back in touch with Braden and.
Yeah, take a couple of times and see the cars and take some cool pictures, and we'll post it up on the Facebook even.
I suppose I can do that.
So, like a little easy.
I guess.
You gonna go to the figure eight racing?
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh yeah. You guys are involved at all in that?
We are not, but I've been thinking about different ways that we can get the rec district involved in that and grow that event, and sponsor in some way, or
wouldn't that be cool?
Any way we can,
like Stars and Pipes, reach out to the rec district. You got a club.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you have a treasurer and how many other things I needed.
bank account.
A president, a CEO, a bank account.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
some roast beef, a chicken, a pizza.
Your social security number, blood type, it's fine.
Yeah. Your soul.
It's not your fault.
Well, I mean, it's really great to have you on here. You're a big part of the community. You're doing a lot to just help out our youth all the way up. And it was important to have you on the podcast.
For real.
When you reached out for us, it was like, what better way to be community oriented than with someone like you who's doing so much in so little time? Like back you came here 3-4 years ago, and you just poured your heart and soul into everything you've done here. And I think it shows tremendously, that if someone from the outside isn't a bad thing, because that's often the thing that gets people worried about. And you were saying here at breakfast that it's like you kind of minded your P's and Q's at the beginning because you didn't want to just be that guy that comes in with all these slinging all these ideas all over the place and changing a bunch of things that people didn't want changed. And you listen to the community. And after you listen to the community and integrated, then you started going, okay, these are the things that my ideas work with them, and not butt heads against everyone. And then it shows, because now it's just been growing until we're hopefully, come 2030, maybe 2035, we can have a brand new, department. Does that building, I just thought of this, does that building, since it is kind of almost a historical building, have a problem being there now if you're going to build this big cool facility, or is it something like you're going to tack on? Like, what's the vision in terms of that?
So the current vision is to keep the Armory building as it is and maintain our lease. So currently we lease that through the state, and we want to keep our lease going there and keep the facility, keep that gym as just another auxiliary gym, and keep our storage room and have that space, but then have our whole rec center built sort of in the lot that's in front of where the Armory is.
Like normally where the semis park.
Yeah, and possibly more into that fenced in area around where the state park headquarters is right now. So nothing's been confirmed or given to us or anything like that yet, but we've been in talk with Chris DeLay, the superintendent of Hot Springs State Park, and he has kind of, given us some of his encouragement, saying, yep, this is definitely a possibility. He's got to clear it with higher ups, and there's a lot of formalities that go into that, but he doesn't see why that would be an issue. And so that's kind of, if you're wondering where this new rec center would possibly be built, that's where our eyes are set. Cool. We want to stay adjacent to where the Armory is and where we have our baseball fields. Obviously be highly accessible and visible to the community, being near the state park, being near the high school. It just makes the most sense. And then also being close to the fairgrounds, because we hope to work with the fair board as well. With this new community center. And so that seems to be our spot that we have in mind. We're really striving for that. We'll see where we end up, but right now that's where our eyes are.
We're not tearing down the Armory.
Nope,
that's not a thing.
Yeah,
so any speculation of that, it's a
clear.
larger building adjacent or close to, but not to disrupt the building itself. So make sure that's clear.
So I do have a quick question. I'm not sure if you guys went over this already or not, but like with all these events, like what goes into it, or do you just like pick dates and you're like, hey, this is what we're doing, and then hope for the best that people are going to volunteer? And
so when I'm planning out these start dates, end dates, all of that for these programs, when to register by, I really do look at what is going on in the community. Like, I don't want to overlap with other programs. Our soccer overlaps with baseball slightly, it's not ideal, but when I had first come into the position, we were doing soccer towards the end of March, and I just noticed that first year we had so many cancellation dates, and spring's already hard enough at the weather. It's like freak snowstorms and lots of rain, and I really, really, really hate to cancel practices because our seasons aren't that long. So every day that you take away actually is more of a substantial chunk of that program. So looking at how the school's running their programs, how these different club and AAU leagues and teams are running theirs, we want to work cohesively with them and make sure that we're not piggybacking programs too tightly together where there's possibly kids that are jumping from one program to the next. And it's great to keep kids involved, but you can sort of burn them out. You need slight, periods of rest and calmness between them, and just as much for the parents too. I know, they're working and then they're trying to bring their kids to all these sports, get them signed up, get the equipment, this, that. They have so much on their plate. So we do think of the parents as well. And so planning our programs around what is going on in the community and what fits best. And there's like little tweaks each year as we notice, okay, well, we did mountain bike camp in, the middle of July, and it was really hot and it's smoky here last year, so not the best air quality to be mountain biking around. So maybe we tweak the date there, or we look at some alternative options. And so
okay,
if you see something that you want to bring to our attention, like I said, let me know. Come in, open door policy. And I'd like to shout out that mountain bike camp as well. So keep your ears and eyes open. We'll be announcing that soon. I have it listed here on my program guide. The dates that were listed, I believe that's the dates that we're going to go off of, but there's been,
feedback is still being taken in for that.
I know we have Fair Week around that time, and I really try not to overlap with that. But yeah, keep your eye open if you have a young one that wants to get into mountain biking. We do a beginner and an intermediate, so there's 2 separate camps based off of their level. And
wow.
So that's just another thing we offer. Real quick, I want to shout out our next arts and crafts fair. So we occasionally host these arts and crafts fairs for artists, local crafters, anyone that has something that they make, they want to sell, they want to just display. You don't have to sell. We encourage involvement in these shows. We host them at the Armory. It's typically like a $10 booth fee or something like that, and that just goes right back into the arts and crafts program. And that's if you
wanted to do a booth, it's a $10 registration.
Yep. So
but walking in the door as a customer,
it's free.
Okay.
Yep. So if you're just like in the customer role and you want to come check out what some of the local artists and crafters have and help just support them.
You had one Saturday, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And those ladies down there, they're so great. Yeah. I went down there, made a quick appearance and stuff. Got myself a taco. Thank you, Juanita. And that was delicious. But just seeing everyone's crafts and stuff, I was just like, man, I don't have enough money to walk into this place. And then of course my wife's like, I'm buying this. I'm like, oh yeah, we are. But there was so many cool things. It was like this and this and this and this, stuff you didn't like, especially for me, I get fixated on a lot of like cool trinkets and gadgets, and I like interesting things, and so you go with me a craft fair, man, everything's interesting. So it was cool to go in there, and they had it all set up easy to walk around. The flow felt good, and those ladies are working really hard to for on their craft, and then they have to do a whole nother side. And that's setting up somewhere, the whole circuit thing. Are they going to get enough people in to justify them paying $10 for that? That means they need to sell something to make back that. And oftentimes it kind of is a bust when, you just don't get the traffic. So please, they're going to be is it going to be like a monthly thing, a bi-monthly thing? Or is it just kind of as scheduled? And so be on the lookout on the Chamber of Commerce website and be on the lookout for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so this year I think we're taking a slightly different approach to it based off of what we saw last year as far as involvement and traffic. So I don't know if we'll be doing them as regularly, but if they're keep being successful, then we'll prolong it and we'll just keep doing them. Last year, what we noticed is that in the spring and the fall was the best time to host them. We noticed during the summer people are out and about so much, they're away on vacations.
That's true.
There's just a lot of things to compete with. So it was a bit slower in the summer. We'll see where we go with it. Our last one was pretty successful. We're having another one, so our next one is Saturday, May 31st. It'll be at the Armory Building, which is 83 US Highway 20 North in Thermopolis, and that'll be open 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you want to come check that out, or if you want to be involved, stop by and fill out one of our registration slips, and we'll get you signed up to be a part of the show. But yeah, we're hoping
9 to 2.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice early little morning jaunt
Yep.
on Saturday after you're doing your yard sailing and stuff like that. Maybe stop in there and check it out. I think it's great to just go in there, and then also to be able to talk to people about their craft and stuff. There's like everyone is kind of have their own little craft, right? That they're doing their own forte, and asking questions about the process and things like that. It's kind of cool. You know, maybe you don't have a lot of extra cash and stuff, but don't feel bad. You know, like go there and check out this kind of stuff. It's really cool. These are what people in local communities are making and things like that. I want to do a lot more with the podcast and talking with local artists and things like that for them to help design the show and like different things, you know, whether it's a cup koozie or maybe something cool for the microphone stuff, like, you know, different things, or a little trinket cool thing I like, you know, that we put on the table, like, you know, however the community can kind of like, this is the community's podcast. This is the voice of Thermopolis. It's not us. We're not the voice, but it's the people that we listen to, and we're on here. We're asking the questions. We're interviewing the people that are involved in the community and getting that information out. So I think that that just kind of goes with it. It's part of that community thing. It's let's get people in the door and take the kids. They can see all kinds of cool stuff. They're probably going to ask you 100 questions of, can I buy this and can I buy that? Because there's really cool stuff. But you know, that's part of what it is, you know, as being a community, is like rallying behind these kinds of things. You know, you might not have $100 to go spend, but maybe you have a couple bucks. Instead of getting that coffee, you know, go down there, you might find something cool. Maybe buy a cup of coffee from someone,
or at least just showing up to support them. I mean,
just
you
showing
don't
up
have
to
buy
support
anything,
them.
just support them.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that's traffic coming in. That's people eyes on. You know,
I mean, it's a small town. Word travels fast. So, like, you're gonna go and show them, like, hey, this person did a pretty awesome booth. Go check them out. Like,
yeah, there was these really cool cups, and I'm not sure of the process and stuff, but they had really cool graphics that she had designed and things like that. Yeah, and then it also turned in like a koozie. Mm-hmm. So there was another like lid adapter that made it so it was a koozie for your like energy drink or your coffee, or you know, or not coffee, I guess, whatever comes in a can, you know, because I draw a blank, but maybe your beverage of choice in a can, and you would be able to sock it in there. And I was like, whoa. We got to get some of these made for the pod. Like, these are so cool. A nice cold drink the whole time I'm drinking, or maybe a warm drink, but you know, I insulated. So that was a really cool thing. I noticed there, and I wouldn't have not even known that existed had I not just kind of popped in and wanted to say hi to people. And of course I ended up spending some cash, but like, it was worth it because I'm supporting local. That's a big push. You're gonna hear that a lot with the town, is like support local, yeah. Shop local, and that's. Like, yes, it's because our local people need the business, need the traffic to be able to keep supporting the business, the town, like we do. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of these local businesses, it's not like they're just scooping up tables of money, right? It's they're supporting that softball team, they're supporting the derby over here. They're trying to do things to help the community just as much as you are, and they're using their business to do so. Yep. So you just going in there and and like the Copper Coup here, going here, buying a drink and enjoying yourself for 30 minutes, you just helped out a local business that's doing a lot, for the local. So
absolutely.
Again, shout out to Copper Coup.
Yeah. I had to because this place is so amazing. It's like such a cool nook. This is one of my favorite spots here in Thermopolis. Like, that's how I feel about it right now. So
even though his first time here was only Saturday.
Even though my first time was only Saturday, you got to take a chance. So talking to the owner here, she was saying that people locally just don't know about it. That she has more out of towners than any other type of customer. Mm-hmm. Then what are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
You don't buy coffee anymore. Like, you don't buy a tea. The drinks they have here, and the amount of different types of drinks they have here, the things you can do in a cup. All right, is so amazing. Mm-hmm. So
a true artiste.
Yeah, and we're losing a lot of that artisan feel, and the craft fair, coming back to that, right? These are artisans. These are people that are working on their craft. They want to present a good product and stuff like that to garner support as a community member and stuff. So shout out to everyone involved in doing that, and thanks for the Armory for being available to be able to host that kind of stuff, because what else would we have? It's a struggle sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Come support these artists and these crafters, and yeah, they have some amazing products. I highly encourage you to come down and check it out if you haven't yet. And we try to offer more and more on each event, so definitely come check it out and be a part of it.
I might have to have a podcast booth there, one of these times. It's
Right,
like, hey, come on
yeah.
down. Let's talk about town. Let's talk about the mop,
Yeah, get little quick excerpts from people.
Yeah, maybe someone's got some input, like a what do they change my mind table, right? The mob has nothing to do. Change my mind. Yeah, I will own you on that. Like the mop has so much to do. There's always something. If you want to talk to people, one thing that was kind of cool is you're talking about the trails and all that stuff. And my mind immediately went to like, okay, who can I like co-opt or who can I talk to that might have like a side by side that I can just personally rent from them or personally like talk to them about being able to use that because. A lot of times, like I don't have snowboarding stuff, I don't have skiing stuff, I don't have a 4-wheeler, but people do, and sometimes it's just sitting in the garage. So like maybe they would be willing to lend out that equipment or something like that just to help somebody for the first time know how to ski or know how to do these kinds of things. Like local support locals. And it occurred to me at some point I was just like, man, that's a cool way to do it. So maybe reaching out on Facebook and hey, in the community pages and hey, anybody have XYZ and see if somebody does. Maybe someone has inner tubes. Maybe someone has kayaks. Maybe, Rent a Venture is out of inner tubes for you to float the river that time. But someone like myself just ends up having I have extra stuff sitting at home all the time that doesn't always get used. And someone wants to use it a weekend. Well, okay, sure, we'll talk about it. So that's the community stuff that we miss a lot, I think. And being Thermopolis, being so small, we have a good chance for community members to help community members. We are a lot different than the bigger cities that we used to go to, right? Or that we used to came from. And I think Thermopolis is basically a melting pot, right? We're like early New York, okay? Let's be honest. Now. Like we have people coming from all over the place, and they end up falling in love when they get here, and they're like, man, all right. And that sense of community that we have, where you don't have to keep your head down, you can wave at a random stranger, and you're gonna get a smile back. Like that kind of stuff just leads to being able to be together more and supporting each other more. We don't all have to struggle. There's plenty of things to be able to do. Maybe you'll make a few friends. Maybe you'll find a cool craft. Maybe you'll find a new passion. Maybe turns out mountain biking was like something that you wanted to do and were afraid to do it, and you did it once, and you're just like, this is it. I'm in. I finally found a way to get into something I wanted to do forever. So like people like you, people like the Chamber of Commerce, like there's all over the place. Like this community is. We have a lot of people willing to help a lot of people. You just got to put your voice out there, and who knows what comes back. It's supportive usually. 9 times out of 10, I think it's supportive, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, for sure. Step out of your comfort zone. Ask someone. Ask us at the Rec District. I know personally, I have a lot of extra gear, like you were saying, certain activities, and I can bring people into sports and introduce them and give them, a chance at it without buying thousands of dollars of equipment and then finding out they don't really love it. And
right.
Yeah. So just reaching out to, your community members, us here at the Rec District, just make your voice be heard. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that's the thing is you can't sit back on the couch and just be like humbug. Mm-hmm. And if you're not willing to do something about it, then you don't have the right to complain about it. Isn't that what was some wise words out there at some point, right? It's like you can't complain about something you're not willing to help fix, right? Not willing to put in the effort for.
Yeah. So right along those lines, I just want to shout out some of our more year-round programs. So we have adult jiu-jitsu. So if you're an adult and you want to get into jiu-jitsu, you can be like a bare bones beginner or a black belt.
Can we talk about that? We haven't talked about that at all. How long you guys been doing the jiu-jitsu at the gym?
Ooh, at least 2 years now.
2 years, almost since you started.
Over 2 years, yeah. It wasn't long after I had started that. That they came to me. Mm-hmm. They wanted to do it, and we figured out a space and a routine and a schedule, and that's just an example of someone bringing their wants or their needs to us, and then us just working with them to help make it happen. And now so many people are joining the club and getting involved, and there's friendships and being made and all sorts of great connections. And obviously guys are getting better at jiu-jitsu and getting all the health and physical and mental benefits from engaging in that.
There's a lot to that. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
and you have a pretty robust team as it is right now on that doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So I would consider my main liaisons in the jiu-jitsu program are Braden Harvey.
Shout out again.
Yep. And Justin Jacobs.
Justin Jacobs.
Yeah. So Justin Jacobs is our resident black belt. He helps lead some of the adult classes. He's got a wealth of knowledge to learn from, and there's a ton of other experienced guys in there as well to learn from. They get beginners all the time, so if you're that beginner, do not feel bad. You're probably standing beside a guy that's his first class too. There's lots of buy-in there, and those guys are great at teaching, and they want to help you grow.
And does that cost money, and when do they meet?
Yeah, there is a cost associated with that. It's all through the jiu-jitsu club, so they do a monthly membership fee, and you can get unlimited classes essentially. So you'll pay.
Oh, okay.
And I'm blanking on that figure.
Oh, yeah, it's not just wild. Let's not throw a wild price.
I don't want to throw out a
there's
wrong
a
figure.
Membership fee monthly, or is it per
yes.
lesson? Can I do a per lesson thing?
I believe they structured it monthly. So this is something, they're flexible. They're just like you and I, and I'm sure they're able to cut a deal for you.
Yeah, okay.
If you're just wanting to sample it out. I'm sure those guys would let you demo a few classes.
Oh, that would be kind of fun to at least sit in and check it out. Yeah.
Don't let me put words in their mouth, but
reach out to them.
Reach out to
them. Reach out to Braden, and just see about it, or reach out to you during business hours.
Yep. If you can't get a hold of either of those guys, or you just don't know them, or their phone numbers, or you don't feel comfortable reaching out to them, reach out to me. It's my job, and I'll help you get put in touch.
And that'll be on your Facebook. That's also on the Chamber of Commerce calendar.
Yep.
It's contact information. So if you are interested in the jiu-jitsu classes, or just seeing what it's about, please go, check them out, check that out. That you do that twice a week, right? There's 2 classes. How's it?
So the adult classes, they do about every morning, Monday through Friday.
Every morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll be in there, 7 to 9:30, possibly a little earlier than that, even later than that.
In the morning.
In the morning. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be your Monday through Fridays. I know they also do some stuff on the weekends, but that's within their group that they schedule those things.
That's the open times.
Exactly. Our youth classes are Monday and Thursday nights. Those are led by Braden, and he also participates in the adult classes, but he leads our youth course and instructs them. So Monday and Thursday nights from 5:30 to about 7:30 at the Armory, and that's a year-round program, so it doesn't come seasonally. They might take a week or so off just to give breaks at specific parts
but that'll be
year.
notified.
You'll be notified, and
you'll know it's coming.
Exactly. They do a great job of keeping their program tight over there, and
cool. Consistent.
Yes, exactly. So if your son or daughter wants to get involved, reach out. If you want to get involved, reach out. And I highly encourage people to get involved with that program. It's very well run.
Oh, do we have an age limit or anything on the youth programs?
I know there is.
Can I have my pre-K go in there and
I don't believe
choke out a
I don't
toddler?
know if we go that young, and I cannot remember the exact age cutoff. It's pretty young. I know Braden was willing to work with kids at a pretty young age.
Cool.
I just don't know his exact cutoff, but hey, if you're wondering, just inquire. We'll let you know, and if there's something that we can work out to help you, we'll make it work.
I got a nephew that I'd love to turn him into a little monster.
It's great. It's great for kids.
Guy?
I think it's really great. It's just like wrestling. I think wrestling and jiu-jitsu are phenomenal for kids to learn, and
there's a lot of discipline. There's a lot of applicable skills there that you use. Mm-hmm. It's not like becoming a weapon, right?
No.
It's so much that it's but a personal discipline, honing a craft, taking care of yourself physically and mentally is a lot of where jiu-jitsu is founded in. And so it's
exactly.
And so you do have a young kid and stuff, and maybe they act out or things like that. Some of this stuff like jiu-jitsu is a good way to add structure to their life, and then be able to give them something to put into where their energy and their being more preoccupied with something of a craft like that amounts to something It's not like they need to go in fighting in MMA fights, later on. No, this is something that you can build a foundation for, of like taking care of yourself, right?
Exactly.
So
Yep.
it's more about like building in something as an adult. Now you have something where you're more disciplined in, that you do for personal reasons, that you're taking care of yourself. It's not so much like trying to choke someone out because they cut in front of you at Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
So I want to put that out there as like, jiu-jitsu has there's maybe a bad rap sometimes about like being a combat sport, right? But there's more people that practice it as a almost like a meditative thing than there are people that actually practice to go beat someone up. So and like a shout out to the youth programs, to Braden, to everyone over there that does all the jiu-jitsu stuff, because they've been doing it for so long. And I feel like, why don't we have an octagon? Like, is that something we can get in the rec center? Like, maybe we bring in some cool fights.
You never know. You never know. I know that our focus is on a jiu-jitsu and wrestling room as far as the combat sector is considered. But so who knows?
That new building might need an octagon in it, or somewhere we could set up an octagon. Is that like?
That is an emerging sport for sure. I'm a fan of the UFC and watching those, and a
lot of people do. I think
it's blown up. Yeah, it's blown up over the past however many years, and it's continuing to grow. So
it was over 10 years ago. I went to an MMA fight over in Wardland that they did. It was an amateur one. Man, that place was crazy. Like the energy, everyone was like, and it was the local people. So like, you got to see, neighborhood kids, like,
and sometimes
not kids, just you're younger than me, so I say kids, but they're of age men that are actually fighting it the one I saw at least. So it was cool. So that'd be cool to get it here, and what would it take? What would it take for us to get a?
Oh, I don't know. I know there's a lot of obviously liability that goes into that,
of course.
And it's obviously the public perception of it, and obviously how they receive it, plays into that. They don't, if they're really against it, it's probably going to be harder to get done and achieve. But I think people are coming around and their mindsets are changing about this. The initial thing about MMA was it's violent and it's just there's no art to it. There's no but if some of these jiu-jitsu guys or anyone that is like trains in boxing or any kind of combat sport generally they're very, very nice people. They're very they have no ego. They're some of the best people. So
they get humbled every day.
Exactly. It shows you how good those sports are for people. And they're some of the most welcoming, nice people. So it's nothing out of the question. Who knows what we could end up with here. And it's just another emerging sport that we could just pour into.
Yeah, so and now to wrap the jiu-jitsu stuff up, because it looks like you have a couple more things on there we want to get to. But is the Armory able to facilitate something like that? Would that building, could we bring in an octagon? I don't know how much, cost wise it would be to like ship that kind of stuff in, and then set up bleachers or some type of thing that we can do to be able to have, some spectate to it. Or is this something we maybe would have to do like the high school where they actually have seating, and then, of course, doing it at the school has a whole lot more strings attached. It's a combat sport in a school. Do they let that happen? Like, please, come on, aren't we past that kind of stuff? But the Armory. So would that be something that would be maybe in the docket if we pushed hard enough, if we put it all together, someone came in and grabbed sponsors and we did something like that, or?
Yeah, that would be. I don't want to give you a yes or no for sure.
Yeah,
it would something to have to look into. I'd want to check.
Because
insurance is like the first thing I think.
Insurance,
and just what our restrictions are exactly as far as that pertains when it comes to the use of the Armory building. I'm not thinking of a ton off the top of my head, so I think if an organization or a group had come in and they have the proper insurance to cover them and they do our paperwork and everything's above board,
cool.
I would call and make a few calls and checks. Obviously, run it by my board members. I would check with our insurance.
It's not a no.
It's not a no.
Not a no.
Yeah, it's not a no.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're out there and this is something that you're really passionate about and you want to do, like I keep saying, reach out.
Yeah, maybe there's Hot City MMA coming up. That'd be kind of sweet.
Yeah.
What else we got here on the docket that are your year-round stuff?
So we have roller skating. So if you ever, want to come down to the Armory and roller skate, Friday nights from 6:30 to 7:30, we do a free skate. And occasionally we have to cancel free skate for a rental or something like that. We're really trying to now just, leave it open for those times, to leave them uninterrupted. That way people can count on being able to come roller skate. But Friday nights, 6:30 to 7:30 at the Armory. Come on down. There's no cost associated with that.
I got to bring my own gear.
Yeah, so we don't have any roller skates currently to offer for people. So obviously that's a barrier. And we are looking at possibly getting a few skates in some different sizes. That way people can just come and put some on and go, and just be able to skate around with some friends.
Cool.
Occasionally we got a little bit of music
If you have
playing.
like the co-op idea, if you have extras, bring them in, and maybe someone can use them, maybe not.
Yep. If you have any sort of extra equipment for any sport, and it's just sitting there collecting dust, and you're thinking about maybe throwing it away, and it's actual useful equipment, always feel free to come by and drop it off with us, and we'll go through it. And if it's truly nothing that we can use, or it's just expired goods, then we can dispose of it. But it's
my leaky kayak. Maybe you could patch it, and that might be more valuable to you to patch it than to throw it away. So then
we can
buy
always,
a new one, or do something like light repairs or something. Cool.
You can always find uses for these equipments and put them to good use for the community, and be able to benefit anybody that wants to use it. So roller skating Friday nights, come on, check that out.
You guys put on the music and then the disco ball, so I can get my
no disco ball yet, but that'd be cool. We're just looking to create the atmosphere.
Maybe we can take the one from our work
that
we never use.
I can't get it to work. I've tried. We have one on the ceiling. I'll flip the power switch on, and sometimes it'll just kick on, and sometimes it won't. But I'll leave the power switch on, and you never know, it could be 2 a.m. It just decides to wake up and just start disco fever in there. So
freaks me out. There was one night I was trying to finish up my job, and it kicked on, and I was like, what is happening? So I text Aaron, and I'm like, I think we have a ghost, dude, because I have no idea what just happened here. I had no idea the switch was on. Last I looked, it was off, so it freaked me out for a minute.
And that was fun. I was like, no, it's actually
it
was me trolling you.
Something like that would be really cool for the roller skating night.
It'd be kind of fun.
Almost like a roller rink.
Maybe if there's a aspiring DJ or something, and you have maybe some of your equipment, and you want to test it out, test out how DJing would work, that'd be a good spot. Maybe you come in and play some free tunes for people, and and work out the kinks, kind of like we did with this podcast. We just sent it, and we're working out all the kinks as we go. Same idea, right?
Exactly.
Maybe you come in with your boombox and you just play DJ for a while, teaching people about some good music. Play Freebird 16 times.
Please not.
Yeah, please don't. I think we're past the generation of playing Freebird all the time. So so we have roller skating on Friday nights.
Yep. And then just circling back to the outing club again, if this is something that you're interested in, you're just not on Facebook, give us a call, email, however you want to contact us. And I have a contact list for the outing club, so I can send you emails or texts of the flyers, notifications of the events, and just so you're aware, and it gets sent right to you.
Awesome.
But yep.
I get the emails. I see them.
Yep.
I'm usually working. I'm one of those guys, but I see them and I'm like, man, that would be cool.
And then, hit us with some feedback too. If you're on the email list and we're constantly, scheduling stuff when you're working or you're unavailable, just, shoot us, hey, we do an event like this time? You're not being needy. You're not being extra. That's the kind of stuff we need to hear. Because if we hear radio silence, then it's just me
throwing
stuff out there and thinking about what works for everyone, but I don't know. So, you're not received in a bad way if you hit me back with, hey, schedule something around this time, and
I'd love to go, and I'll bring the family.
Exactly. That's what we wanna hear from the people. So,
you had the trail run, right? Did I miss something? There was a trail run that was recently.
So that's actually run through Hot City Striders, I believe it's called. Wade, the gentleman that has that run club, they do all sorts of cool fun runs and 5Ks and things like that. Saturdays mornings and Wednesday evenings. I think he sticks to those 2 time ranges, and he does a lot of cool runs here and down. They went down Buffalo Creek, they went up Round Top. all over town.
Wow.
Yeah, all over the state park.
Round top as a run.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Yep.
He does 5Ks and more for fun. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it. I've got a few cool trophies from doing my 5Ks.
Okay, 5K's too easy. He does like marathons and stuff.
Right.
For fun. Like,
5K's too easy.
yeah,
All right.
For this man,
That's
yes.
what she said.
Yes.
No, for that man, yeah, he's a
Yes.
monster,
He
huh?
is a monster. Yeah.
He's one of those David Goggins guys.
So I worked with him when I worked for the school. He's a 5th grade teacher, and he was always talking about how he's doing marathons and stuff. And so
Wow.
I'm not surprised that he's starting this up, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's challenging.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's been all over. He used to live in Egypt and then came here to teach, and yeah, he's a pretty cool guy.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's teaching us how to run.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta-
Teaching math and teaching running.
Teaching math and teaching math.
And he always encourages anyone from any ability to come take part in it. If you're not a runner and you just know that you're going to run for 100 feet and then you're going to need to walk a bit, that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
You're
That's how my
know,
5Ks go.
You're allowed to be a part of their run group. You're not going to be,
And not hazed for
No.
being of lower ability or anything like that.
Nope. And he'll gauge different outings for different folks
Yeah, that's
too
cool.
as
Yeah.
well. So you can do some more of the intense stuff if you're an avid runner, or you can do more of the leisure kind of stuff if you're a newer runner,
Yeah.
not as serious about it. So
Can I find information about that on the website or
yeah,
Facebook?
I share a lot of his events on the Rec District page. He does a great job of sharing it throughout a lot of the community groups on Facebook. I believe
Cool.
it's Hot City Striders. I don't know if it's Hot City or Hot Springs.
Okay.
But
But it gets me there. Gets
Yeah,
me close. There.
Striders.
I'll figure it out. Yeah.
yeah, that's how you'll know you're in the right
Hot
place.
something Striders.
Yeah.
That's all you know.
Hot Strider.
I know there's Hot City and then obviously Hot Springs, and they're back and
I
forth.
have a lot of shoulders issues when I start working out and stuff. I don't know whether it's a muscle
Because
impingement
he's so
or something.
swole.
Yeah. But that's been affecting me a lot to where now I feel like I can't even work out. But it occurred to me the other day. I was like, maybe running. Maybe I get back. I hate running, for the record. I hate running. And I was even in the military, but I hated running. And now I'm like, I hate it. And that's why I need to do it. Like, because then that's something that struggles. I struggle for that. But then it's going to get easier the more I do it. And it's not so bad once you get running or once you feel like that, or just long walks. I love going for long walks for a couple hours. I'll walk all over town or whatever. You'll probably catch me, at midnight walking around town somewhere. But then like doing something I hated was like tempering me a little bit of like, teaching me some discipline, teaching me that it's like, I've always hated it because I'm just a bigger guy. So it's hard for me to I feel to get running. I had asthma younger and that kind of stuff. So running has always been the like arch nemesis of bigger people like myself. Right. And so I didn't like that. Just like I don't like birthday cake. I don't like cake because fat kid loves cake, that whole line. So I swore that off. But going back, now it's like, okay, what can I do to challenge myself and turn the narrative around for myself? And that's what running brings to me. It's like, if I can, be the fat guy, but I'm running a 5K, you're not calling me a fat guy anymore, are you?
Just to clear the
that
air
kind of
real
stuff.
quick, it's Hot Springs Striders.
Springs.
Yep, I did
Hot
look that
spring.
up.
Oh, thank you. We got to do more of that, like on the game, Googling and stuff like that,
Yeah,
or searching, because then we can have the definitive information right here on the pod.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So what was that one more time?
Hot Springs Striders.
All right. If you're looking to get out and about, even if it's walking, running, jogging, skipping, so that'd be cool.
Yep.
I'm going to be part of it. I might hate myself, but I'll be part of it. So I encourage more, not just because I'm doing it, but why not? Getting out and about a little bit, exploring our town, some cool stuff.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, they do great stuff over there. So yeah, go give them a follow. Go get involved.
yeah, we're gonna stay tuned for more activities and events coming from you.
Yep.
You're
yeah.
always posting new stuff.
Always posting new stuff and, taking ideas from the community and running with them.
Yeah.
So come be a part of it and share your ideas and get your voice out there. Make it be heard. We're just here to assist you and serve you.
Yeah, that's Brian Parker, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you very much for coming out today and spending the whole day at this point with us. We had breakfast. Now we're yakking around on a podcast forever. We're gonna try putting the whole thing uncut up out there. That's gonna be on YouTube, and then we're gonna have the audio version only for Spotify. And so be looking for that kind of stuff. Video may come to Spotify if I can figure it out easier. It's been having a lot of troubles, but some of those things I think we'd be able to figure out. And that's just a little bit behind the scenes to keep people understanding of where the information's at. So if you want to reach the podcast right now, Spotify and YouTube. YouTube's going to be the bigger one because it's got the video on there and stuff, but a lot of people like to be able to download the episode or whatnot on like Spotify to just have the audio, so that's going to be available for you guys there too. You didn't miss anything as far as the video goes if you're listening to this on audio. We've just kind of been sitting around here at the table of the Copper Coup. Again, shout out. Thank you very much for having us. And this has been the Voice of Thermopolis podcast. I'm Aaron.
Taylor.
And Brian.
Hey, Brian. Thank you very much.